generally forget that okay, we are in car, but you are on the road.
Major of the accidents happen basically because of the negligence and distraction. A small watermelon, which is about 2 kgs or 5 kgs, car driving at 40 kilometers, you throw it on the windshield, it will create a same impact as a bomb. There was one instance which was really very alarming. The heart from the left side has been, it transferred to the right side.
Hello everyone, welcome to Asli Kahani Podcast. Today's topic, it's very important and very close to my heart. I always wanted to speak about all those things. And there's a one reason like I stopped driving and riding on the roads because I feel our roads are not safer. We need to follow so many things, and even we have so many safety measures in our vehicle, but because of our carelessness we don't follow that, and at result it's not only me or other, anyone can harm all those things. So to speak on all those topics and very important measures, we have amazing guest with us. He has spent almost 35 years in automotive industries. Now he's working with Skoda Auto Volkswagen Group as an after sales training and service. And thanks a lot, Suresh Nagaraja sir, to coming here and taking out time to discuss all those important topics, because uh, I really, it's very close to my heart. I think we all have lost mm, one or the other, like close one in the
Absolutely,
road accidents.
absolutely, yes.
So and nowadays I really sees that people have not even having basic knowledge when they are buying a vehicle. So so we'll be talking a lot today for all
Of
those
course, of
things.
course. This is one of the topic which is very near to me also, and I also drive, so I feel that pinch somewhere. Okay, so it's a very good opportunity, and thank you very much for giving this opportunity, Nakulji. And yes, I will be more than happy to share my views, and I, I I I think I also support your viewpoint, where it has to be benefiting to the people by and large, in terms of because safety and lives are very important, so that's something which compelled me to take up this, and it's a very nice opportunity. Thank you very much again on this.
Like before starting, I just want to like share something that we generally see on the roads, that most of the people are following the rules by the fear of fines and traffic cops.
Exactly, yes.
We generally don't understand that rules and that safety measures are not for, are there for some reason, some very big reason. So
Yeah.
if you can just throw some knowledge, like throw some light from the maybe 50 60 years back till today, what all development changes, what all like.
Exactly. What you said is correct. People tend to fall in line basically with fear about the consequences, So that's what drives the most of them, right? And if there is no fear or no enforcement, I think people go haywire, right? That's one of the thing. But off late, I've noticed. I'll just give you a quick, a funny situation here. I was driving. I usually drive from Elahanka to Pina. When I was driving. I drive a Volkswagen car. In front of me, there was a lady who was driving a two-wheeler. Seems like she was learning to drive, and or rather, new driving, and she wanted to turn to the right. She was on the extreme left. She wanted to turn to the right. Now, what I did, I stopped my car. I put the hazard on, right, and also indicating that there is some obstruction in the front or something that is to be looked into alarmingly. But there was another bike guy who zoomed past me, and this lady was trying to cross, and they both collided. So I was at wrong or the other guy is at wrong is something that is to be very. I mean, it was funny, but then a lady who's maybe around 40s or something getting into that kind of situation, I think she will lose the whole confidence of driving the bike, or being on the road. So that's where, as you rightly brought out, enforcement is required, but much more than that, I think people should realize it's responsibility to drive on the road, and to drive safely is much more important, and for you as well as other people. That's something you touched up a while back. Very nicely said, and this is something very important. Now, coming to the previous or the older generation cars, and how safety has evolved over a period of time. I don't want to go very far back, because most of the safety features developed and got implemented post 60s, right? So let's take Indian scenario. I think we all were born in that era, 60s, 70s. Uh, Till 70 at least, we were only looking at two cars, two primary manufacturers, Hindustan and Premier
Premium.
Company,
Correct.
right? So one was Ambassador and one was a Fiat. So in those days, what very limited kind of, we didn't have seat belts, we didn't have airbags till 70s at least. Um, the the idea about a safety was bulk and mechanical systems, mechanical systems will provide safety. That was a thought process, you know. So they made everything very bulky, very heavy, and the moment you hit, they they presumed that it will take the impact and it will safeguard them. But that was not the way it was to be working, and that we came to know post to many of the innovations that we have done, and even today it's been in use. Example, in case there's a frontal impact, the impact should be distributed to the side of the frame, right? It comes onto the front frame. I'm not talking about the bumper. Bumper is something that it is squashed, absorbs the impact. Some of the, like up to 15% of the impact is absorbed by the bumper. Then comes the frame in the front, which absorbs another few more percentage, and then the impact is transferred to the A pillar. The A pillar is made of high strength steel, and you also have crumple zones which squashes or which absorbs the impact and safeguards the people inside the car. This is the technology that is evolved over a period of time. Okay, so um, so coming from the age old thought process which said bulkiness will safeguard people, and tougher metal will safeguard people, was not, it's just a myth, right? Though we had so many accidents, lucky we didn't have such a dense population and dense number of cars on the road, so many cars as what it is today. If it was now, it would have been a
Disaster.
catastrophic situation. So safety uh, things have improved over leaps and bounds over a period of time. To start with, seat belts, airbag, crumple zone, driving like safety like ABS, traction control, ESP. So many technologies are being evolved, and now it's some of the manufacturers, especially Skoda Auto, we take pride in making it standard across all variants. We don't compromise on safety. Right? We stand number one. I mean, we preach very high on safety, and we also set examples for that. How do we set? We made safety equipments standard to all the variants. So that's how we look at. Many of the manufacturers do this, high-end manufacturers, but yes, this is a requirement of the current situation. Without that, it would have been a really, really catastrophic situation. That's what I feel. So this is the in crux how the safety system has evolved from what it was earlier and to what it is today. We will dwell more in detail into this as we go into the subject. So this is how I think I would see we are fortunate that the innovation has taken place, and to help people to save themselves, at the same time save other people also. But at the same time, yes, you brought up that very important point of driving sensibly on the road. So most of the things come out basically as the driver, what do you say, how he drives the car, and more significantly, how he behaves when driving on the road. That's what is important. And most of the accidents nowadays, I would attribute to the behavioral aspect rather than to the driving aspect. Driving is one part, but behavior, I think, is what is something which is very crucial, and that is what is pushing up the um, number of accidents in India. That's something which is very important.
Like you rightly said that behavior matters, because I generally feel like we always think that we are in car. We think about car, we know our machine,
Correct,
our
correct,
balance and
correct,
everything. We
correct,
generally forget that okay, we are in car, but you are on the road. So you
correct.
have to be aware about the road, not only your car.
Absolutely, absolutely.
We
So,
generally drive and talk to each other,
exactly.
the
Yes,
distractions.
you had it. You nailed it, actually. So, most of the things, like I was just reading some survey done by a kind of what is this? More Indian motor industry, um, Ministry of
Transport and
Transport, and
okay,
so this is a report came out from 2021. In that, when we see major of the accidents happen basically because of the negligence and distraction, right? More so for distraction. You rightly said, when you drive behind a car, right? Just recently, about 10 days back, I was driving behind a car. In that car, it was on Nandi. What is that? Outer Ring Road. Um, corridor is that?
the nice road
Nice
side.
road.
Oh,
I was driving on that, and since it's a nice road and open road, I was doing about 100 or something, 80 to 100. So then I was also looking at a car in front of me. It was a SUV, and in that, it a family driver, the husband driving the car. Next to him is a wife and two kids on the back. The driver is driving around almost the same speed, but the concentration is not there on the road. What he's doing occasionally, I mean, often he's talking to his wife, telling his kids, talking something. The kids are jumping inside the car. So you can understand in case of a eventuality what happens next to that. Okay, no one's wearing a seat belt. Maybe the driver was wearing it because it's mandatory now. The front row, maybe the wife also, but the kids were jumping around. So who's at stake if case it happens? And as parents, definitely I wouldn't be in a situation to see that. I don't like to see that. I presume that's the same with every parent. They don't like their kids to be harmed, but you are unaware or ignorant, I don't know what to say, but you are not following the simple driving hygiene required to be on the road.
it's
That's
like
a
we
point.
take a vehicle with all the safety measures, but we don't want to follow what
Exactly,
it's required to get
exactly,
that safety, like
exactly.
with the
Neglect,
seat belt also. And we like
negligence.
very few people knows that if you are not wearing seat belt, your airbag will not open. People
Absolutely.
feel that oh, we are getting suffocated.
Absolutely. It's very tight, it's
Yeah,
hot. Okay, it leaves a mark here. I'm wearing a white shirt, it gives a mark. Excuses can be innumerous,
but
but
these
then
excuses are costing your life.
life is only one. So
Life
you
is one.
can decide whether you want your life or you want to give excuses. So this is one thing, and it's good that I got into this company because this is something I've learned from this company. One is to be honest and integral. Integrity is something very important. When I say integrity, even at 12 o'clock in the night, if suppose there's a red light, it make me stop in the red light. Only I pass after the screen, after looking at others if there's any other obstruction. So this is something I picked up, and this is something that is inbuilt now. It's my habit or behavior Okay, it's not only because of this, but I have attributed this through this company. So something like this, I think, if everyone looks at this quite seriously, um, I think I mean, this most of us will be safe, and more so, you will be safe, and you will also be keeping others safe,
Others.
which is more important for a person. You know, my integrity says it's not only me who's have to be safe; others also has to be safe. That's how I look at.
Like ignorance के साथ ना I want to highlight that Cyrus Mystery case if you want to explain
Correct.
like what
Yes.
happened in that case.
Uh, I
That
was
was
just talking about the safety. When we look at the car that Cyrus Mistry was driving in, it's a very, I mean, very, uh, what do you say, uh, safe car
very safe and high end car,
and a high end,
Maybach,
very renowned car,
renowned
right?
car.
So, but still, rear, both passengers, there were two of them, Cyrus
Yeah.
Mistry and the
One
director
lady,
of. Huh?
one lady and Cyrus
No, one.
Mystery. It was
Who's that?
3 or 4 people I think,
Four people,
including
two in the
driver.
front.
Two in the
Both
front.
were wearing a seatbelt in the front,
Mm.
and two at the back. There were two people at the back were not wearing the seatbelt. So I presume that I just was reading somewhere. They were traveling back from Gujarat. They had attended some function, some community functions or
Yes, yes.
something. I'm not sure. But then on the way back, somewhere after Palghar or something, reaching back to
Back to back.
Mumbai,
Mumbai.
um, I think one of the car was going slow. So the lady was driving. So she took a. Usually we do that, we take
Yeah,
a. We try to
overtaking.
overtake on the left, and then she went on to the left, but there was a blind spot, and she banged into a pole there. So that's what I presume that it happened, and then I read that, and since both of them were not wearing a seat belt on the rear, so their car went into a spin, they crashed and rolling over and things like that. In that, I think since they were not wearing a seat belt, they were very, very badly bruised, and I mean, internal damages were very high, which caused the death of Cyrus. Okay, so this very simple fact of wearing a seatbelt, it's a very noble thing. It was invented by Volvo somewhere in 1967, and they didn't patent it. Basically, because that safety, they felt a moral responsibility that they have to extend this to each and every person driving a car, and they have to save the whole any person driving the car. So this is what is. I mean, some companies they believe in the cause, So that's I value those things very much, and despite that, despite being a CEO of Tata Motors, a renowned company, negligence or
Negligence.
ignorance, something, I don't know. So this is what caused the uh, death, I can say. I can also draw one more incident if you okay.
Yeah, yeah. Please.
We are all very known to Princess Diana.
Yeah.
Yeah, you must be knowing how it
Correct.
happened, and she was also driving late night in a Maybach, very very safe car, right? But unfortunately, she also was not wearing a seatbelt. There also we had four people driving. Three of them, the driver and the two at the back, were not wearing a seatbelt. Only the bodyguard was wearing a seatbelt. He survived, though with severe injuries. He survived. He still lives, but the other three perished, basically because of the accident, and the speed was quite high. What all happened in behind scene, I don't know. But then, what I read is, I can display that here
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you don't
Please,
mind.
please,
I'll
please.
just
Yeah,
push it a bit away,
yeah.
and I think there were two people in the car. Diana was sitting here, and probably you were sitting next to me like this, and she was talking to the other person like this, sitting like this. Okay,
Generally,
more
we sit
generally
like
we
that.
sit like this, and she was more in conversation about what I don't know. So she was very intimately talking to the person. So the whole concentration is on the person, not on the car, what
Okay.
speed it's going, what is happening around? No, right? And suddenly, when there is a hit, I read of the accident, how it happened, and what caused the death. Her right side portion was actually facing the seat, and the impact caused her to go and bang on the seat, and the head also banged on the roof, right? With all these things, there was one instance which is really very, very alarming. Her, the heart from the left side has been, I mean, it transferred to the right side. The impact was so heavy and high, the heart was shifted from the left to the right. So this shows she was sitting like this. The hit was on the right side. Her whole right portion was bruised and fractured. Spine was fractured. Knee was fractured. The shoulder arm, this spine area was fractured, and her ribs, the right side was broken, and the heart was shifted to the right. So this shows the kind of impact can what can bring on, even if it's a slow speed or a high speed, the impact that can happen is very, very alarming. I'll just give you one quick example. I, when during our college days, one of our lecturers who taught us engineering or IC engines, he used to sell. He used to say, a small watermelon, which is about 2 kgs or 5 kgs, car driving at 40 kilometers, you throw it on the windshield, it will create a same impact as a bomb. Speed is only 40 kilometers, 5 kg of watermelon acts as a bomb at that speed. Now you can imagine the car was doing about 180 kilometers per hour, that is Princess Diana, and Cyrus was almost about 100 maybe, though it is under control. Big discussions and big this thing happens on, no, the speed limit was 80, but she was doing 100, things like that. But more than that, the basic sense of using safety features provided on the car is something very important. That's what I would like to bring it on now.
It's like basic fundamental skills like how to drive, and then apart from driving, earlier if we see like maybe 20 years back and all our father and our ancestors, all those, they used to know their machine, what all they are driving, riding. So many things they used to repair themselves.
Correct?
Nowadays, I've seen people, they don't even know how to take out the stepney out from the car. Forget about changing.
Yes,
They don't
yes.
even know where is the stepney, what is
Actually,
jack,
yes, yes,
how to
yes,
get it
yes.
out. We'll ask them, do you have jack? Do you have stepney? No, I don't have.
Yes,
They don't even know that your car has stepney.
exactly.
So all those small things, like it's very important for everyone to learn. Like, what's your take on that?
Very good point, a very valuable point, because this also helps in improving the understanding of the um, what is that machine that we are driving or using, right? So whenever example, whenever a person has to work on a machine, example, if it's a CNC machine, it's just simple as that. What does the factory act do? They first train them. They should be knowing how to use that. Much more before to that training, what they first preach is safety. These are the do's and don'ts on when you're working on this machine, right? Absolutely, you were on the you banged on the nail here, because we are only interested in selling the car. We don't explain much about how to use the product, right? So this is where we need to do. I recall when working with a dealership, one of the brands started off this initiative as a DIY, do it yourself, predominantly, to give an understanding of how to carry out these small, small things, how to check brake fluid, how to check coolant, how to add coolant, what coolant to be added, engine oil, where do you check, how do you check the dipstick, take out the dipstick and check, and tire pressures, and yes, the spare wheel, how to remove and replace, where do you have to jack the car. There are quite a lot of important small, small things, but has a very valuable impact on how to drive and safety wise. It's a very good point. Um, I think most of the OEMs have a very big role in this. They, again, I think now it's all stopped now. It was happening, but most of the places I don't think it's happening. I may be wrong also, but then it's a very very important topic that you picked up, very required, that once we sell the car, or rather we call the drivers or customers, educate them. It's a driver education that I'm looking at. Educate them on how to use some of these small things, do it doing by their own. Plus, at this same time, I would also take this opportunity to also bring out awareness of how to drive, and lot of safety features are there. Example, you have a button for ASR, anti-slip regulation.
Okay.
Now, many of them do not know that button is there, and you have to switch on or switch off. They are confused. Of course, it has to be left switched off so that whenever there's a slippage, the other systems will take care to stabilize the car. But if you are switching on or switching off that, if you disable that, then you may land up in a skidding position, and you may crash into something else, right? So these are very small things, but then yes, required that you have to educate the customer. At the same time, sensibly driving the car is something very important. We have to bring in that awareness. So this is another thing. And what else can be done by the OEMs is uh, increasing the awareness of safety. We preach about safety, we stand to safety, but at the same time, we have to put in efforts somewhere. Yes, that lacks, but it requires. We are responsible as OEM manufacturers, right? So we are responsible to bring out that awareness. So tying up with institutes. So when do we do this training? After a person becomes capable of buying a car, or right from the young age,
Young
is
age.
something that I keep asking. So young age may not be so young where they do not know about the cars. At least college, 12th standard,
College, or maybe we should start from primary, not primary, like secondary.
secondary,
Secondary
when they
can be.
know about the car, what we are talking about. So when we start more, talking about these things, I think it gets into their head. You're conditioning them, you're giving them uh, thought process, what is good, what is not good when you're driving the car. So at that young age, you're giving that thought process to them. So that's something that we can do, tying up with the colleges, institutes, or also coming up with more ads about these things. We have a very good ad running on safety. So that's something which we have to be, I think the presence has to be felt more, the impact, to have that impact. Just showing one ad would not be sufficient, but then, or tying up with one institute would not be sufficient. I think all collectively, each of us as OEMs, I think we have to join hands for this noble cause.
I'll
You
take that opportunity to appreciate Asli Kahani, that these kind of talks also should happen.
Absolutely, yes. I
So
really
we can
appreciate that,
educate
and
from this podcast
we
also.
starting off. Maybe we are the catalyst now.
Yeah.
Probably a very good initiative, Nakulji.
Uh,
It should. What we see is, it's not about saving yourself, as I said, saving lives. Anywhere, even if it saves one life, I attribute that this program as a success.
Yeah, definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
and
Because
thanks and hats
and
off to you
few
for
more
that.
small things, I generally get irritated on the roads. Like people doesn't know what is high beam, low beam, when to use that,
Exactly, exactly,
and
exactly,
that small thing
exactly.
is like because of high beam and low beam, so many accidents are happening.
Absolutely,
We,
exactly. I'll just give you one example. There's a understanding, a car coming from front in the night, he gives a high beam. What does it mean? People don't know that. They take it as they get offended of that. Oh, this fellow hitting a high beam at me, I'm also going to hit a high beam on him. So there is a reason for that. Some people may know that and do that, but most of them get offended. Example, I used to work when I used to work in Pune. Head office was in Mumbai. I used to travel quite often to my head office sometimes, and this Khandala and what is that?
Lonavala.
Lonavala
Lonavala.
is on the way. During monsoon season, it's very difficult, driving in that road, and you have tunnels. So many of the cars, the moment they enter the tunnel, they put on the hazard. What is this indicating? Just to make sure that I'm going on this road, and this hazard will give me give the person on the back indication that I'm moving in the front, right? But is that the right thing to do? No, because the moment hazard is on, I cannot give any indication. Indicators have no significance there. Am I moving to the left or right? No indication. So one is he's putting on the hazard, and he goes like a serpent, left and right, as and when he gets up this thing. Speed is not reduced. He goes wavering in the traffic, and the person coming behind, he sees only two hazards, but he doesn't see the direction of movement of the car. What is he intending to do? He's not understanding. So this is one of the very major thing which can be covered in the driver trainings that I
Yeah.
explained, educations.
Very funny incident I'll share, like with that like hazard light and
Yeah,
indicators
yeah.
only. I was riding, and the other person front of me, they were giving right indicator.
Okay.
And then if he's giving right indicator, it's like common for me that I'll take from left.
Absolutely.
When I'm taking from left, they turn the left.
Oh.
I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, hey, I told you na go from right. I'm like, when? Like,
Ah.
I gave indicator right na ki you go from right. So they
Oh.
know what the use of indicator. They are like, I gave you signal na ki because they were like hand se we do no. Ki, okay, you take this. So
Correct.
that hand wala thing, they
Correct.
use it indicator to show me that you take from right.
Correct. So this
So
is
if
a
we are
kind
not
of a
aware about,
confusion that they
yeah,
create on the road.
we should
and that
understand the rule first. It's not
exactly
like you using rule, okay,
how
but
to
you don't know
use
how to
that is
use.
something that you have
Yeah.
to know.
How has technology reshaped the automobile industry, and what do you see the key advantage and disadvantages of these changes? Because nowadays we have so many features in the car.
I will just what I've noted down is for this thing key advantages. It gives you enhanced safety for the passengers in the car. One of the thing is collision avoidance system. Like I'll just name few: collision
Mm.
avoidance system, lane keep assist, lane departure assist, autonomous driving. Of course, this is something in Europe. The autonomous is more in Europe, but Indian context, we have these three. What is that? Collision, lane keeping, and what is this? Adaptive cruise control, which brakes, emergency braking. All these things are there, which enhances the safety aspect. We are also looking at efficiency. How's the technology helped in improving the efficiency, especially when we have a transition period from IC engines to EV
EV,
and hybrids, and convenience and connectivity, right? So convenience is the system that we use, internet in the car, though it's sometimes it's distraction, but then by and large I see it as a very good initiative to improve safety. Like in Europe, we have over the air announcement coming. Example, I'm driving on a highway, and maybe 1 kilometer down the line there's an accident, and that will be reflecting on the infotainment system. This is yet to be catching up in India, but these are the systems. I think sooner or later it will be following up, and you will have these systems coming to India. But these are systems which helps to safeguard, improve safety, and also ensure that your convenience is improved. Why? Because if you know that there is an accident, you will not go straight ahead and get stuck in a jam. And you know what happens if you're stuck in a jam. First thing is you become very irritant, and very annoying, and you lose your patience. So, and leading to more accidents maybe. So what it does is it gives an alternate route that you can take. So you're safe, your family is safe, and you also save time rather than getting stuck in a traffic. So these are the three things I think I attribute to the technology improvement. At the same time, you also have disadvantages also with the technology improvement, basically because of so many systems, very complicated systems. Example, I spoke about lane assist, keeping the car within the lane. Some of the Indian companies also have provided this in their car. Just to name, XUV 700 has a lane uh,
Okay.
assistant. What do you say that? So this lane keeping assist, even if you leave the steering for some time, it will assist to keep the car in the lane,
Straight.
within the lane. But what it requires is very expensive cameras, very expensive. Some brands use radars, some brands use cameras, some use a technology called lidar, light detection and ranging software and hardware systems. These are very expensive. So the major drawback is, more the convenience system, more the safety systems that we start providing, it's good, but then it also leads to cost escalation. Affordability
Correct.
becomes a challenge.
Correct.
Not all people can afford that. So only the elite or the top end who can afford that classy cars would be able to afford this. This is something that is important. However, over a period of time, as I was telling you, like most of the safety aspect have been made standard now, right? Example, ABS. At one time, seat belt, airbag and ABS was a luxury thing, which was something that is out of the world and cannot be affordable. Now it's become much more a standard feature on most of the cars, right? And with regulation also catching in, the government's regulation, these are all made mandatory for a car to be safely driven on the road. So these initiatives will definitely help, but then affordability will definitely be a big question. And second is, we as human beings, more than using a skill, our over reliance on technology and complacency will build in. This is a second thing which I feel it's very, very going to hit us very strongly. Complacency is something which is, that's what I said. People take it for granted. You're driving a safe car. Like a while back, you very nicely brought out that thing. Uh, Less concentration on the road, and they think it's fun driving, enjoying. Enjoying means what? With your family and other kith and kin, your friends, more talking and things like that, and doing what not. So this is something will is a very key drawback of improving safety, right? So
Hmm.
this is what I think.
When you were telling this, now I really got connected to the education, because what generally happens, we take admission in a nice colleges.
Correct,
Okay, they have nice teacher, nice
correct,
infrastructure,
correct.
and then we think that, oh, now I am in this college, I will be succeed. I will not
Absolutely.
study.
I don't need to study.
I don't, that
How does your grade improve? Because I'm in that
I'm in
college.
that college, so that
So,
same I'm
so
in
the
that car I will not follow.
so the
But that car
responsibility lies with the teacher,
teacher,
not
not
with
with
the
me.
student. So who has to pass the student? The teacher has to pass the
Teacher has
student.
to pass.
Very nice, very good.
And same
Very, very
thing we are
good.
doing with the
Yes.
vehicles and everything
Absolutely,
nowadays.
absolutely.
And
Yes.
we are spending a lot of money, everything, but we are not following what we are
Exactly,
paid for.
exactly, exactly.
And
So this is what I call as what is that? Driving hygiene.
mm,
Some hygiene. Everything has a hygiene. Whatever you do has a hygiene. If you look at that way, I think it will be systematically falling in line. But if you don't follow that hygiene, you'll end up in problem.
correct. If you can give very brief difference between how we are moving to EVs and what major difference we gonna see in coming days.
Okay. EV market in India, or rather globally, it's catching up very fast, right? And now it's much more important because of the fossil fuel um, depleting at a very fast rate. And maybe for another 10 years, we will have fossil fuel, and we need to have a transition to alternate energy source for driving a car. Now, can we leave a car? Can we not drive a car is another question. We are so accustomed to driving a bike or a car or transportation, say, own transportation rather, that I don't think we'll be compromising on leaving and taking public transport. Yes, there's a lot to be done in that sector, but then uh, can we leave our enjoyment? I was just telling, we drive cars for enjoying the cars drive or the bike. Nowadays, you have performance bikes, okay, 200 cc, 300, 350. No, 200 is very minimum.
Minimum.
We already have Bullet driving, being driven with passion, 350 cc's and above. Performance bikes with thousands cc engines, Ducati or whatnot, So uh, we definitely will not sacrifice that. So what we need to do is we need to look at a transition from IC or the fossil fuel to alternate source of energy to drive these passionate cars or bikes. One of the significant drivers towards EV as of now. Yes, there are other alternatives like which is catching up. I don't know how it's going to catch up, but then yes, very big talks about hydrogen cars, right? Fuel cell cars. Um Toyota was into this quite long time, and now a lot of manufacturers are getting into this. Yes, no, not getting into that sector. I mean section, but then what I feel is EV is right now booming, and we have a very good market for that. Um, Majorly because um, the performance wise, it is giving the same pleasure as what you drove by and large. Maybe up to 80% at least, it can match up to IC engines. Technology is improving, battery technology is improving. Okay, major thing that has to improve is battery technology and charging infrastructure to be improved. And then you also have the EV cars manufactured with very very aerodynamically with lot of other materials. Like example, um, I was just giving an instance of ultra high strength steel. Instead of that, now they use carbon fiber, which is much more stronger than ultra high strength steel. Just to give you an example, ultra high strength steel has a compressive strength of around 1200 to 1400 megapascal, that it can withstand that kind of a force. Carbon fiber can withstand almost about 1 to 3 gigapascal. 1 to 3 gigapascal.
Okay.
That's a force that it can handle. It's a very light material, and that's what is required. Light. The cars have to be light so that you have better drivability and range of a EV. So these are things, some of the things that is going on. I mean, innovative things that is going on in EV sector. It'll be catching up, yes, for short time at least, till the time you have a much more convincing. Why I say short time is many of them are not convinced, including me. I don't like to drive a EV basically because range anxiety. I can drive within the city, but range is something that always will be running behind my back of my mind. So this I don't like. I feel very constrained. When I'm driving, I should have the total flexibility of driving a car wherever I need to be going. So if it's EV cars, range anxiety is something that is very critical. you know However, there are a lot of manufacturers working on this to improve the range and chargeability. Also, fast chargings are now catching up. Earlier, charging used to take about full one full night, or 8 to 8 to 10 or 8 to 12 hours example. Now there are very fast high speed charging which can take only about half an hour to charge from 10% to 80%. But this cannot be a repeated charge. It's a DC charging. Uh, Recommendation is, once you have a DC charging, you have to go for a AC charging, right? So now I charged it, yeah, but if I roam around a little bit more, right, then I'll be faced with another charging requirement, which is only the DC option available in the um, on the public sector. So this is something that has to be improved, and manufacturers are working hard. Innovations are coming up with new battery technology which can hold better charges, better materials, reducing cost, and the charging infrastructure also. So these are the things that I think can propel EV segment to fare better in a near future. So that's how now you can see Tata also is Tata. I mean, many Indian companies are getting into this. Tata, Mahindra, a lot of other bikes and other companies coming. BYD is scoring really well. Apart from that, we are also into this. Skoda Auto is also into this. So electric cars has quite a good. I mean, it shows a promising um, alternative for IC engine, but then there's a lot to be done on that.
Like whenever innovation comes now, innovation comes with the challenges.
Absolutely.
So as an OEM, what all challenges you, one challenge is costing. We have to keep cost
Absolutely.
in the
Yes.
budget. Like
Yeah.
apart from costing, what all other challenges, if you can.
The transition to EV especially is basically major thing is, as you rightly said, is cost. Why cost? Because of the noble metals that we use, nickel, cadmium, nickel, cobalt, right? And it's a lithium based thing. But these are the I mean um, key metals that is used in battery manufacturing to ensure better charge or density and things like that. So this is one of the major thing. Another challenge is, we also look at expensive batteries. Major part is battery in a car. Other things are all quite manageable. The major 80% of the cost of a EV car is battery. So this is one of the thing, and there's also a talk about shifting from lithium ion based batteries to solid based batteries, which is much more stable, which is much more which performs better at temperatures, but only drawback is at low temperatures solid batteries do not function well, that. Then so we need to have some technology that we can heat up and keep it running. So that's one of the area. And other area, major area, as I told you, is the charging infrastructure, which has to be developing as early as possible. Um, I think there was a talk about India Ministry of Transport had a very uh, ambitious target of 30% electrification by 2030, right?
But
As
it's
of now, we are only at around 5-6%, single digit. So we are already in 25. Another 5 years, there's a huge infrastructure development required, and I think if we need to be catching up globally, I think that has to be done, and a very very huge target for India. So it's not only now government. I think private OEMs also have to pitch in to ensure that the infrastructure develops. Then yes, you have a boom. You already have a very good acceptance now. The major reason why many people could not get into EV is because of this range anxiety. So that
correct.
if it's worked on, I think you have a fairly good chance of EV catching up as an alternative source of energy.
I like
Yeah,
it's just a normal this thing because whenever in India we have seen whenever it's monsoon season we are seeing water blocking
yeah,
everywhere and all.
yeah, yeah.
And electric, say, I always have that fear in me that oh, I'm driving electric vehicle. What if my car is under the water?
Under the water and
How it will, how safe it is? Uh,
it's absolutely safe. I don't think there's any um, issues with that. But then um, any product has a limitation. Example, I take for instance mobile phones. At one time, we didn't have any water resistance. Now we are coming up with IP68 norms. That says up to 1 meter you can take the mobile, even if it's submerged, and taken out after some time, I don't think you'll have any issues with that. You still can just wipe off the water and ensure that the water doesn't go inside the speakers and other things areas. You take care of that, then mobile should take, should be able to handle. Similar kind of things are being worked out, and you have a the 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 battery casing is a very watertight casing. It can handle quite a lot of um, submerge situation and driving in the waterlogged areas. uh, we have many of the auto rickshaws nowadays, electrically driven auto rickshaws now running in water weirded area. But if it gets submerged to roof level, then nothing can be done. Okay, only option is to for you to get out and swim and get to the shore. But then most of the things, battery operated vehicles are tested, especially high-end OEMs like Mercedes-Benz, Volkswagen, BMW. They're very well aware of these situations, and they're planning and they're designing based on these driving situations also. They consider that. So I don't think there should be any kind of issue with waterlogging areas and driving EV cars in that situation.
See, generally, when we speak about the automotive technologies, na, so
Yeah.
Formula One is often viewed as a testing ground for advancement. How
Yes.
has F1 inspired engineering into the integration of those technology into consumer vehicles?
Very nice question. I also am a very ardent fan of F1, right? Driving high speed cars, of course, not here, on a racetrack and things like that. I've driven cars working for when I was abroad in Muscat, and I was working for Ferrari, Maserati, things like that. So driven cars on F1 tracks. So it's very exciting. Yes, the question was how that technology has helped in consumer car. It's F1 definitely has been a long time like testing ground for many of the cutting edge innovations, right? Many innovations have come from F1 cars. Why? Because they have to they have to be innovative so that they can win the race, right? So quite a lot of technologies have come from there. Example to say the aerodynamics. First thing is the aerodynamics, which has to be reducing the drag of the car to be more efficient, more faster, and that now is translated into the commercials, consumer cars, where the drag has to be minimized so that the fuel efficiency can be better, right? So that technology is coming. And another classic thing is the the cockpit of the driver on a F1 Formula is so strong that even after that high speed, you know how what's the speed they drive, even at that high speed when there is a crash, the driver is still safe. You know, the same technology is now transferred into the consumer cars. However, as I was telling you, affordability, the cost of the cars goes up. BMWs, Mercedes Benz, Volkswagen, high end cars. So like that. So these technologies are coming in. One more technology, very good technology, I'll tell you, is using um, I was telling about carbon, this fiber,
Yeah.
right? We also use ceramic for brake disc on F1.
Okay.
So basically, to ensure that brake fading is very minimum and brakes are effective at any speed and any condition, right? The same thing is now being used on many of the performance cars, which is used in India, right? India and globally also. So these are some of the technologies I can say which has been helpful from F1 to be transitioning from F1 to consumer cars. So these technologies definitely are still ongoing, right? And next is um, engine management system, which started off with F1 to manage the injection systems and the engine functioning. So based on the driving condition and things like that. So these are all now part and parcel of the commercial vehicles. So F1 has been a testing ground, and quite a lot of innovations have passed on to the commercial sector.
See, when it comes to vehicle, na, the maintenance is a very important part of
Yeah,
any machine.
yeah,
So vehicle, and we generally often like overlook the maintenance thing.
absolutely.
What are the some common mistakes that any vehicle owner is like doing maintaining their vehicle, and how they can avoid them?
Common mistakes is, um, you rightly said, it's already known that every machine needs a maintenance. Okay, I call it a machine because it's a running thing. The major drawbacks, or rather overlooking fact for Indian customers especially, is sticking to that maintenance schedule as recommended by OEM. This is something that they overlook, right? They take for granted the car runs till the time. The mentality is like this: जब तक ब्रेक डाउन नहीं होगा तब तक मैं वर्कशॉप नहीं जाऊंगा.
True, true,
So this is
completely true.
something, this is inbuilt. Now I think the consumers, the most of the customers are quite aware of this requirement. They do take their cars regularly to the workshop, but by and large, most of the other, especially, or I shouldn't say, but then they may get offended, but then taxi segment, okay, or something like that, their requirement is, I need to be on the road, I need to be earning so much of I mean, that's natural because they have to earn their living. So that's becomes more precedence than the maintenance part. So it takes a backseat there. However, our educated customers also have a drawback there. So maybe it goes off their mind or something, I don't know, but they neglect maintenance part, which is very important. For our body, blood is very important to function, right? Similarly, for an engine, oil is very important to function. So the moment oil becomes thick or the viscosity drops, then you start having problems with the engine functioning, and which will lead to expensive repairs later on and things like that. So to avoid that, one is to stick to regular maintenance as suggested by the OEM. That is the first thing. Second, I've also experienced this when I was with the dealership end. Example, we noticed that the brake pad is worn out and it may have another 3000 to 5000 kilometers life, right? We suggest that it has to be replaced. What customer says, it has 5000 kilometers, okay, leave it as it is, I'll come next time and then replace. Next time is 15,000 kilometer, not 5,000. So when do you come? No problem. When there's a this thing, if I have any issue with the brake, I'll come and replace it. This what do you say? This is ignorance, and neglecting safety aspect. There's a very primary reason for accidents also. So this is one of the reason I think we need to come out of this mentality, right? So one is that, and another one is that sticking to the maintenance, regular maintenance, as specified by the OEMs. Another example I could say is battery, right? We check the battery, we recommend battery has to be replaced, but what customer does, okay, is it still okay, is it working, okay, I'm going for a long trip, I'll come back and replace. But what happens if the car breaks down, battery fails, and you're stuck in mid of a highway? And just picture this: if you're with your family, mid of nowhere, pitch dark on a highway, so how do you feel that? Is it very safe? No. But some of the customers, not everyone, as I told you, most of the customers are coming out of that and are more aware of the requirement, but then few customers are still there. This is to come out, I mean, this habit or this thought process, you have to come out of this thought process. This helps in safety. When there is a problem with the battery or a tire or something like that, tire wear out. Okay, how many more kilometers it can go? Okay, you still have so much of life, I'll drive that and then come back for a tire replacement. But they don't realize that you're also putting others into problem, I mean, situation like that. uh, so these are things that I think customers should avoid. And just for a few, mm, saving few bucks, I don't think you should be taking such a big hit at your life, right? So
And one common thing I have seen, like nowadays, na people have multiple cars, or sometimes maybe if you have one also, you are not driving it daily.
yes,
It's just there maybe once in a month you are taking, and then you are facing problem. We say if machine it's in running condition, it will stay
exactly,
fine.
yes,
If you are
absolutely,
running like once in a blue moon, then you will face problem.
absolutely,
We just
yes,
keep it in the garage or on the road, and
correct,
suddenly when we want, we are facing problem.
correct, correct.
So they we have if we have machine, like we have to make it use like frequently.
Yes, yes, it has to be frequently driven, and many of the customers here also we have that, like they park the car for so many days in together, and first thing that goes down is the battery.
Yeah.
The battery is supplying power to many of the control units. The control units lose power, and though once you have a new battery or a battery gets charged, they get they become active and they respond. But then back of the mind they always have that fault identified and recorded in the system. So with that, some of the, see, very crucial is for all the safety systems to work efficiently, most of the control units or the network has to communicate with each other efficiently. If there's any one missing link there, any one of the safety aspect would just cease to function, right? This is one of the very major thing that could happen with parking the car without using for long time. Yes, brakes nowadays also, because it's a mild steel and it's an alloy, but then if you park the car for a very long time, the brakes, there will be a rust formation on the brakes. So till the time the rust comes off, you have to drive cautiously on the road if you're right on the road during that time. So these are some of the things that you have to be careful about. Yes, you had a point there. So customers have to be aware of this and rotate the car regularly, right? At least to tell,
At
take
least
the car
start
for a
and just
small
for
drive,
500
at least
meter, one
for
kilometer.
500, half a kilometer, go and come back. That helps a lot. Yes,
Just funny part, like nowadays, so many people are not taking out their car because their parking is like reserved, and
reserved.
so they don't want to lose the parking.
The moment you take out, you have
Some
another
other
person coming
person
and
coming in
parking.
park.
Yes, so
And as you said, na, like as we need blood to run the body, and very nicely the car also, we always say body. The car has a body and
very
then
similar, very
machines.
similar.
And we are not we are taking care of our this body, but
Yes,
that body also has so many
exactly,
parts. You have to
exactly.
service it. You have to fuel
Exactly,
it, like as
exactly.
we are eating every
I'll
day.
just give you a funny instance. I do trainings, for technicians. So whenever I'm giving an example of an engine about input and in the fuel injection systems, that's an input, and exhaust is something coming out. So I relate to my body. What we eat is what is coming out.
Coming out.
So intake and exhaust system.
Exhaust.
So if suppose, what is the engine? Our stomach is an engine.
Engine.
So if there's any problem with that, intake and exhaust both gets affected. Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's a very nice thing, but then we have to relate to that.
And I
Very
think that's
important.
why many people, like I love my bike like a lot, so I don't allow anyone to touch my bike.
Oh,
So it's like very
very
important
possessive.
for me.
Very
Very
possessive.
possessive, and like it's my thing.
It's your thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's my friend. It's my best friend. So I treat that as a human only.
Very good. Nakulji, I just give a very good thing. In most of the older days, um, we used to treat our cars as second wife.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's my wife.
Yeah.
So yes, understand. Yeah,
So
sorry, what you were.
no, that was just like normally this thing came.
Yeah.
I think it's very amazing thing what all we talk now. It's, and as you said, like yeah, maybe after coming days, we will see some other education thing is happening to educate the like society how to use the machines, vehicle, and all. because there's it's like never ending thing what we are
Never
talking.
ending.
It's never ending, and like there are
Absolutely.
so many things to talk on.
Yes.
And, because just for like briefly, if you can explain the future of automotive industry, like where are we heading?
Uh, the future cars, I think more technology will be infused into this, right? We already have some cars. Like example, you must have heard of autonomous cars. That means, just to explain in simple word, driverless cars,
Mhm.
right? So, a very, I mean, lot of innovation is going into this because fleet management becomes much more easy now. You can just order like a Ola or Uber. You can order your car. I mean, place a request for your car, and the car comes and stops in front of your house, and just like normally what happens, but it's a driverless car, so it's much more manageable. And the moment you have this kind of thing, most of, I mean, there are a lot of positives and things that we can look at in terms of business scalability and in terms of consumer safety and comfort, right? This is one of the thing. Another thing that is going on is in the fraternity, automotive fraternity, is uh, it's like connect, car connect, interconnect, or there's a connect between a car to car, right? So it's like the cars themselves are speaking to each other, and when you're driving, and in case of any eventuality, the control system takes care and avoids a major escalation or an accident, right? So this is one of the other thing that is coming up. And uh, another thing I can say, now we are also into transition into electric cars. So there, I think a lot of innovation is going on in terms of bringing down the cost, at the same time making the cars much more safer to drive. Not only in terms of the technology that we are using for driving the cars, including the battery, like you just cited, if a car or a vehicle, can it be driven, an electric vehicle, can it be driven in a water weighted area? So these are things that has been evolving. So you will also have lot of digitalization coming into picture, like these are some of the innovations that is going ahead, will be coming in future. I don't know if you have seen, it's very difficult to predict, but I used to, when I was young, I had seen a movie, Back to Future.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember
No,
that.
I haven't seen
It's a very nice movie, and in that, what happens is the car is going only like a, it's like a takeoff. It takes off, the wheels go inside, and it becomes an aircraft like this.
that. Ah.
It's a flying car. So maybe we can see
Mm.
those Steven Spielberg movies, you may relate.
Mm.
Okay, cars flying up. Okay, it's not on the ground, it's moving around on the in the air. So flying cars may be a reality. Now we already have those flying cars, you know that.
Okay.
Okay, now innovation is going on for a flying cars. It can be driven as a normal car on road.
Okay.
If you want, you can also fly those cars. So this is something that is coming up. So feature has so many things promising, but what catches is, end of the day, it's a consumer requirement. End of the day, it's a consumer who wants it or does not want it. So that's where the catch is.
Even I feel that will happen very soon, because if we see the aircraft, we have private jet, small one, like
Yeah.
four seater,
Yes.
all those. It's like a car only, they'll take little,
It's
little.
like that, but then what I mentioned is, like, you have a runway for that.
Mm.
Even when you have to land, you need a runway.
Ah.
But these flying cars,
Directly
they
it will
don't
fly.
need runway,
Oh.
right? You must have seen a jet. The jet propulsion. It's like it doesn't need a runway.
Mm-hmm.
It has a jet engine which, from
Oh,
like this, it focuses on the ground. The
Ah,
thrust is hitting the ground.
and then
The engine from here, it is
okay,
shifted
okay.
towards hitting the ground, and the aircraft lifts, and then it
Mm.
changes to the right and then moves off. So
Oh,
something like that.
nice.
That's something
We
I've
have
seen
seen
in
in the movies.
movies, Steven
Yeah,
Spielberg
yeah.
movies, and Back to the Future,
Yes.
something like that.
What all I understood, as you said also, when you were in Muscat and all, you were very fond of
Yeah.
cars. So I understood that because you were passionate about this particular like machines industry,
Yes.
that's why whatever like experience you had in your life so far, na, that helped you because you were passionate about the industry. So
Exactly.
the coming generation who wants to enter in this industry or maybe consumer, what advice you want to give them? If
Very good question. Very good question. Yes, it was 100%. I'll just give a slight uh, story here.
mm,
Um, my passion started when I was 6 years old.
oh,
6 years, right? And now I'm 57. 6 years,
oh
50
my
years
god.
back. How did it all start? My dad had an ambassador. We used to go to school along with my cousin. We used to go to school and come back in the car. While coming back, the driver, Kaka, uncle,
Mhm.
used to make us sit on his lap. We never used to reach the brakes and pedal. The ABC was out of reach. He used to make us sit, only control the steering. That's
Steering.
all. This is a passion. Even today, it's running me, right? So, very rightly said, for doing or excelling in anything that you want to do, passion is required. If you don't have passion to do that, you cannot survive in any field. You name any field, doing anything, agriculture, sports, or whatever, X, Y, Z, any whatnot, you should have that passion. Without passion, you cannot do anything. That's something I believe in. And that's helped me to stick on to this field. In fact, after my engineering, my first uh, on site or campus interview and placement was Blue Star Yokogawa. Way back in 93, salary was about 12,000 rupees at that time.
That,
I left that job. I joined a dealership, Maruti dealership,
mm.
for 750 rupees per month.
Oh.
Okay. So these are things that we were very interested in and passionate about to learn. So something that is very important for a new oncomer, and especially with this hard times where there's a technology change, lot of innovation being driven into that. It requires that a person has to have a consistency and has to be passionate about what he wants to do, right? And post to that, he has to build his own capability. Another thing I realized is I did my engineering. I specialized in automotive. My electives was automotive. I scored very well. But then when I went to the field, a simple car as Maruti 800 in those days, not able to configure what and how it is being built and driven. You had a lot of customers coming with complaint, and I used to be shouted at because I didn't know the product, right? So it becomes very much necessary to build your capability and your knowledge into whatever you want to become. Now the scope is, yes, you have lot of scope in terms of battery technology, in terms of IoT, Internet of Things. A lot of things are pushed into that. Um, Safety technologies that is being built into this cars. So a lot of things, lot of avenues are available, but then you have to build your capability by involving yourself, learning things by yourself, and also applying it on your job. This is very much important,
Correct, correct.
right?
It's like love what
You
all
have
we
to
are
love.
doing. Yeah, you have to
And
love your work.
second, one most important thing is nowadays, um, most of the students, I'm sorry, I don't want to generalize it, but whatever I see, as you rightly said, you get into a college, very prestigious college, and you have to score well. The responsibility is the teachers,
Teach.
not yours.
Not.
Why? Because you don't study. That's the mentality. So now you have to come out of that. You have to put in your hard work, right? Without hard work, I don't think even today, that's something which is noble. Without hard work, I don't think you can excel in any field.
True.
So this is something which is very important. Hard work, focused, stay focused on what you want to do, what you want to achieve, build up your capability, study so many avenues nowadays, right? In those days we didn't have many of the things, only hardbound books were available. Now you have internet which has opened up a plethora of knowledge. So use it for your good and stay updated, and also working as an intern in one of the good OEMs or good field that which you want to get into will help you improve your knowledge, right? Also will give you a new direction about clear direction about what you have to do to be in that excel in that field. So these are some of the things I would suggest that youngsters should be attuned to in case they want to be in that thing. But I find that this is very exciting. Automotive field is really exciting, and a lot of innovations. I think most of the innovations now is into automotive, because we're on a threshold where we have to have a transition, at the same time safety, at the same time comfort, same time enjoy. So a lot of things mix and match. So it's a very exciting
See,
field.
everyone wants to move, and they will move with the automobile industry only. There
Yes,
is no other way to move.
no other way.
So it was literally amazing, like knowledge sharing today. What you did in
Yeah,
Asli Kahani, our main motive is always like, ki, let's make society a better place to live. And I think this topic was literally required to discuss. There are so many. It's like interconnected to many things. If we are not like it's not only about safe drivers, safety for overall, and
correct.
if we are there, so we should not hurt other also, and in that way we will make the society better place.
Exactly,
And
exactly,
it's
exactly.
amazing day like spending with you, and will even you have similar thing that will try to do something like, yeah, how we can start educating youngsters and coming generation, or not
Yes,
only youngster, I
yes,
think
yes,
everyone.
yes, yes.
It's not only for the youngsters, for everyone. We will also try to introduce some kind of courses, or maybe
Yes,
we'll talk
yes,
some
yes, yes.
institution. And with this podcast we are asking like everyone, if you think you have any connect with you that can be worked, and if any way you think that how we can start educating coming generations, and from which thing, like whatever efforts we can do to make our roads safer.
Exactly.
And let's connect with us, let's connect with Suresh sir. We'll definitely plan something, and we'll take this forward. It's
So,
like very
Nakul sir,
amazing.
pleasure is mine, to be on this platform. And thank you very much for giving this opportunity. It's a very noble cause, definitely. I stand for this. And that's the reason I came over.
Correct.
And even after I finished my day of work and then I'm here. But it's not tiring. I enjoy doing this very much. And a very noble cause. Really appreciate you for this, right? And keep doing this. And it also gave me one sense. I was thinking you asked a very good question. Responsibility of OEMs towards safety. You know, what can we do? I told, but why haven't we implemented this? Something. I'll take it back. There are some learnings from us, for us also, right? It's just not only talking about this. It just came out whatever. I mean, I may not be so accurate in some places, but then my also outlook was also to ensure at least by this session understanding if we can save at least one person's life, my life is sarthak. So that's how I look at this. So very noble cause again, I tell you. So keep doing this. If you want any of my this thing into this, I will definitely be there for you. Thank you
That's a
very
nice,
much. Yeah,
nice
it's
of
a
you.
very nice.
We have a small appreciation token for you, so we want to present that.
Oh,
And for our audience, like keep watching Asli Kahani. We'll be coming up with more of these kind of topics in coming future. And if you think there are something that we should do interviews or podcasts with someone, please connect with us. Thanks a lot for watching this and keep watching Asli Kahani.